We're now going to hear from Quique Sanchez, who is based in Barcelona in Spain. He's a project manager for Santa de Las of Peace Studies in Barcelona and is active in campaigns related to military spending, nuclear weapons, and climate and militarism. Kike is going to tell us about a new campaign that Santa de Las has just started, linking these things together. Yeah, over to you, Kike. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me in the first place, and I'm happy to share this panel with such great panelists. I'm gonna share a presentation if that's okay. Should be this. Can you see it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so here I go. All right, so I want to dedicate my time to mostly introduce the campaign that we are running together with Ecologistas en Acción and Extinction Rebellion Barcelona. We started well, we got together maybe 1 year ago, and we are in a very early stage of the campaign, but well, we're very excited and we believe it makes a contribution at least at the Spanish state, at the Spanish level. Okay, he goes. As you know, and as it's been mentioned, the scientific community is warning us about the necessity and the urgency to reduce greenhouse gas emissions if we are to avoid the worst scenarios for climate crisis. And as you know, and I think it's a figure from Stuart Parkinson, from Scientists for Global Responsibility, military emissions, getting together armed forces and military industry, account for 5.5 of the global emissions. And that's, to put it in comparison, that's as saying same emissions as commercial aviation. So it will make natural sense that if we are to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to avoid the worst climate change scenario, then the military sector should be included in this reduction. But unsurprisingly, they are exempt from informing and from of course reducing, but also from informing which emissions they are accounting for. In Kyoto, they were exempted completely. In Paris, they made it optional, and now after COP, we are seeing that they are still not forced or not. It's not mandatory for them to reveal how much they are emitting and to make a commitment of the reduction that they should undertake. In the Spanish case is very similar to the rest of the world, or the rest of the Western countries, I would say, NATO and Western countries. We have, of course, a climate change and energy transition law that is seeking for this reduction, but as it happens in other countries, the law excludes all activities that could affect national defense and public security interests. And this is the back door through which the armed forces and the military industry are not making public any data. There's no data for the armed forces, and there's very little or very incomplete from the military industry. But at the same time, and we also see this in NATO and in the European Union, Spain considers climate change as a threat to have in mind, to really take into account, and to react to in case, for instance, it mentions climate migrations, or it mentions resource scarcity. So despite not asking from the military any reductions or any accountability for the contribution to climate change, the military is considered as a tool to react to issues that should not be addressed through military means, no, as resource scarcity or migrations. This is the reason we launched the campaign. Our first and our first step and goal is to get transparency. We would like the Spanish government to reveal how much the military is contributing to climate change, and after that, it'll be great to get some commitment to reduce. But at the same time, we're trying to raise awareness on civil society about the connection between the military sector and the ecological crisis that we're living. In this sense, our campaign is trying to link to, as the whole week of action is doing, and as many organizations are in the peace movement are doing, we're trying to strengthen our connection to environmentalist, to feminist, and global justice movements, understanding that we have different demands, but a common cause, and that there's an interlinkage of the violences that we are fighting. And in this sense, of course, as I said, we're asking transparency, but we're also asking reductions, and we're asking Spain to make a contribution to this cause by pushing countries in future COPs, and by redirecting resources, instead of thinking that we need to protect against migrants and that we need to interfere in other countries to ensure our energy supply, redirecting these resources that are going to the military to actually promoting social and environmental justice. And just to wrap it up, and trying to connect to the Global Week of Action. Besides these emissions that we're addressing in the militarized is the carbonized campaign, we're also trying to give a bigger picture of the situation, and from my own writings, I will come with 5 points to explain why it's important that our movement, the peace movement, gets together with the climate crisis and with the climate justice movement. So first, of course, we should address emissions. We know that war causes a lot of greenhouse emissions, but at the same time, we need to know that wars happen because of this oil extraction. And I also want to make a stop there here to talk about the situation in Palestine, and for us to try and see how having Israel there, as in words of Biden, is if Israel didn't exist, they had to invent it. And that's because of the role Israel plays in the Middle East. So we cannot understand the genocide there when we can understand the very unstable situation that has been living there for almost a century, without understanding the role that oil and extractivism has in the region. Then, of course, on a more global view, we need to think that the military and the use of force is sustaining this system that is creating these violences. So we cannot separate the climate crisis of the economic model that is causing it, and understanding that the military is the, as in words of Thomas Friedman, is the invisible fist that is helping running the invisible hand of the market. We know free market it's a lie, but we need to understand that this free market, supposedly free market, is working with an invisible fist that is the military. No? And then the neoliberal pundits um, cannot see an economic model without the use of force. No, they need a strong police and a strong military. So also when we see the struggle that happens inside our countries, and we see the repression coming from the police, we need to understand that it's two sides of the same coin, and it's just the elites using the military and the police to maintain business as usual to get things going. A short mention to the nuclear weapons. If we have 12,000 nuclear weapons in the world, only if 1% of them exploded, it will be a huge crisis, and 2,000 billion people, 2 billion people will in danger. As a anti-nuclear activist puts it, climate change can make our planet inhabitable in 100 years, but nuclear weapons can make it inhabitable in 45 minutes, 1 hour. So just to keep that in mind, and to keep an eye on that, especially now that we see the rhetoric on nuclear weapons coming back super strong. And last, well, the fourth point, keep an eye on how the military is presenting itself as the solution. No, I think Nico already mentioned it, but the military cannot be part of the solution when it's part of the problem. Keep an eye on greenwashing and all the strategies that are coming in this direction, and disaster relief efforts made by the military that are only a marketing strategy. And lastly, just thinking about the opportunity cost of the military. If we were to redirect these resources to actually alleviating the climate crisis, to mitigating the efforts, the cost, and to help those countries that are being affected more strongly, which coincidentally are the ones that are least responsible for the emissions. Um, we will be addressing this situation as it deserves. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kike. That was a really